Imagine this. It's a quiet night in a small town in Wisconsin when suddenly, screams and gunshots pierce the silence. An unimaginable crime takes place. A young girl disappears without a trace, and her parents are brutally murdered. The town is shaken, the police scramble for answers, and the nation follows every new lead in horror. No one could have predicted that the missing girl would one day return, alive and by her own strength. This is the incredible story of Jayme Closs's abduction, a story of survival, resilience, and ultimate freedom after 88 days in captivity. Our story begins on October 15, 2018, in Barron, a small town in Wisconsin. Jayme Closs, a 13-year-old girl, lived here with her parents, Denise and James Closs. It was an ordinary evening, and the family was preparing for a typical night. But what began as a peaceful evening would soon turn into a nightmare. Shortly after midnight, a man armed with a shotgun broke into the Closs family home. He was masked, well-prepared, and carried out his plan with ruthless precision. After breaking down the door, he entered the house. Jayme's parents tried to protect their daughter, but the intruder was relentless. He shot James first and then Denise, who made a desperate attempt to call the police. Jayme, hidden in a small closet, could hear the terrifying events unfold in the midst of her own shock. The man quickly found her, pulled her from her hiding place, and forced her to come with him. That same night, Jayme disappeared, leaving behind only devastation and mystery. The police arrived minutes after the emergency call, but it was too late. The house was eerily silent, her parents were dead, and Jayme was nowhere to be found. Investigators found no clear evidence pointing to the kidnapper's identity or motive. The only clue was the perpetrator's car, captured on surveillance footage near the crime scene. But it wasn't enough to solve the case. The following weeks were filled with uncertainty and fear. Jayme's face soon graced newspapers and TV screens across the United States. People nationwide joined in the search, held vigils, and shared possible leads. The police combed through forests, interviewed neighbors, and followed hundreds of tips, but to no avail. It was as though Jayme had vanished into thin air. But while the world around her searched desperately, Jayme was held captive, in a remote cabin just a few miles from her own home. The man who had kidnapped her was Jake Patterson, a 21-year-old who had chosen Jayme as his target after seeing her by chance one day on her school bus. He meticulously planned the horrific act of killing her family and abducting her. Over the next weeks and months, Patterson held Jayme captive, isolated her, and forbade her from trying to escape or seeking help. He forced her to live under his control, threatening her with violence if she attempted to flee. Jayme was in a nightmare, with no contact with the outside world and little hope for rescue. But despite the fear and isolation, she didn't lose her courage. On January 10, 2019, after 88 days in captivity, Jayme seized a rare opportunity to escape. Patterson left the cabin for a few hours, leaving Jayme alone. She took this chance with incredible bravery. She ran through the freezing snow, her heart pounding with fear and determination. Eventually, she found a neighbor who immediately called the police. The news of Jayme's escape spread like wildfire. People were overwhelmed with relief, joy, and awe at her bravery. Jayme had not only returned alive but had managed to free herself from her captor's clutches. Jake Patterson was arrested shortly after. He confessed in detail to the crime, explaining how he had chosen Jayme and planned the murders of her parents. It quickly became clear that he had prepared carefully, but he had underestimated Jayme's strength and will to survive. Patterson was convicted of kidnapping and double murder and sentenced to life in prison without the possibility of parole. For Jayme, this marked the end of a horrific chapter and the beginning of a long healing process. Her courage and determination to survive despite the odds inspired people around the world. Jayme became a symbol of resilience and hope, a reminder that even in the darkest moments, a spark of survival can guide us through. The case of Jayme Closs is not only a story of crime but also one of survival and the power of human will. Her incredible escape from captivity shows us just how strong people can be, even when hope seems lost. She is a hero, not only for herself but for all those who believe that strength and courage can grow even in the toughest of times. If Jayme's story has moved and inspired you as much as it has us, please consider subscribing and giving us a like. On our channel, we share many more incredible and inspiring stories that will make you think and uplift your spirit. Don't forget to hit the bell so you won't miss any of our stories, and stay tuned for the next video.